Who do you need to become to achieve your dreams? It's not about changing the goal, it's about changing yourself. Failure hurts, but I have always believed that failure is a disguised opportunity. My own life is proof of this. I was rejected by universities multiple times, couldn't land a job at renowned companies, and even at KFC, I was the only one rejected out of 24 candidates. For me, every no was a new chapter, and every mistake was a step toward learning. That's what I want you to understand. Failure isn't the end, it's the beginning of something new. When I started Alibaba, people laughed at the idea of using the internet to connect small businesses to the world. We were a small group with no money and limited technology. Most people thought we would fail, and to be honest, we failed many times at the beginning, but every mistake brought us closer to a solution. Failing fast, adjusting course, and trying again, that was the formula that kept us moving forward. Think of it this way. Every mistake is like a strict but fair teacher. It teaches valuable lessons you would never learn in moments of success. Failure is a stepping stone, not a roadblock. You must use it to gain momentum, not to settle. Remember, when you are poor but you have a dream, you never feel poor. That dream is what gives meaning to hardships. The world teaches us to fear failure, but I learned to embrace it. People love stories of victory, but behind the scenes, in moments of doubt and overcoming, is where real growth happens. When you accept that failure is inevitable but not insurmountable, you start seeing the possibilities it brings. That's how you turn pain into power. And now I ask, are you ready to embrace your own failures and use them as fuel to achieve your greatest dreams? Because the story never ends with a mistake, it just begins there. In a world where distractions are everywhere, focus has become a superpower. I realized this in the early years of Alibaba. We had limited resources and many ideas, but we quickly learned that it's impossible to do everything at once. Prioritizing the most important tasks and concentrating on them is what turned our small team into a global powerhouse. This lesson still resonates. Clarity in what you do is more important than doing too much. When you try to take on the world, you end up neglecting what truly matters. Think of a laser. Its strength lies in precision, not in its breadth. The same applies to your efforts. An entrepreneur who knows where to direct their energy will always outperform someone trying to do it all. As I often say, if not now, when? If not me, who? Focus is the difference between a plan that fails and one that thrives. Social media, endless messages, and daily demands, these can drain your attention if you let them. The key is filtering what really matters. When you wake up, do you already know the 3 most important things you need to accomplish today? If not, you're wasting precious time. That's why focus is synonymous with productivity. I've seen many talented people fail because they try to do everything at once. But the secret isn't in quantity, it's in quality. Choose a direction, focus on it, and give it your best. When I did this, I realized my results were exponentially better. It's not about running fast, it's about running in the right direction. So ask yourself, what is the one thing that, if done excellently, will make everything else easier or unnecessary? Because the magic happens when you stop scattering your efforts and start channeling your energy into what truly matters. There was a moment in my journey when I realized that slowing down is often the fastest move you can make. When facing a crisis, the tendency is to act impulsively, but I learned that reflecting before acting is like clearing a foggy window to see better. In Alibaba's early days, there were times when the pressure was so overwhelming it felt impossible to make a clear decision. It was in those moments that I discovered the power of calm and strategic thinking. Imagine your mind as a lake. If the waters are turbulent, you cannot see the bottom. But when everything is calm, clarity emerges. Adopting a slower, more conscious approach allowed me to evaluate problems from different perspectives and make more impactful decisions. I have always believed that the best ideas come in moments of reflection, not chaos. It's natural to want to act immediately, especially when time feels against you. But over time, I learned that a poorly thought-out decision can cost much more than a strategic pause. When you slow down, you are not standing still. You are analyzing, considering, and strengthening your direction. Sometimes, that's exactly what makes the difference between an ordinary decision and a transformative one. I remember a metaphor I used with my team. If you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. Taking a moment to understand the environment around you is what makes you capable of adjusting your strategies. It's not about acting quickly, but acting correctly. This approach helped me turn complex problems into clear, actionable solutions. So think about this. Next time you face a challenge, stop and take a deep breath. How about giving yourself the gift of time? You may find that by slowing down, you are moving in the right direction with much greater certainty. From the beginning, I believed that the success of any business lies in offering something of real value, something people will love and trust. When I founded Alibaba, my vision was clear. It wasn't just about selling products, but creating an experience that delighted and retained our customers. Quality was non-negotiable, even when resources were scarce. That decision, although difficult, shaped what we have become. When you prioritize quality, you're planting seeds for sustainable success. Many companies seek shortcuts, but shortcuts don't build trust. I always told my team, listen to the customer, understand what they truly want, and do better than they expect. That's what set us apart in such a competitive market. Quality isn't just a differentiator. It's the foundation that sustains any long-term business. People always ask, how can we grow faster? My answer is simple: grow better. Growth without quality is like building a house on quicksand. At Alibaba, we decided that the customer would be our #1 priority. No matter how challenging it was, we had to deliver something they would love. Because when you deliver quality, customers come back. And more importantly, they bring others with them. It's fascinating how the world is full of examples of brands that failed because they neglected quality. I believe that a dissatisfied customer could harm not just our reputation, but our future. That's why we insisted on building a culture where excellence was at the core of everything. Every product, every service, every interaction was an opportunity to impress. So I ask you, what are you delivering to the world? Are you building something people will remember or something that will be forgotten? Because quality isn't just an investment, it's a declaration of who you are and what you stand for. When I started Alibaba, I quickly realized that happy customers are your greatest asset. In fact, I often told my team that every interaction with a customer was an opportunity to create a memorable experience. When people truly love your service, they become your ambassadors, speaking about your company in ways you never could. This is the essence of what drives lasting growth in any business. Customers are not just numbers, they are people with stories, emotions, and expectations. If you can exceed those expectations, even in small ways, you transform their experience from ordinary to extraordinary. I always believe that creating memorable moments is what separates good companies from great ones. When your customers remember you, they don't just come back. They bring their friends, family, and everyone else with them. Building loyalty isn't about offering the lowest price or the flashiest product. It's about making your customers feel valued. At Alibaba, we focused on solving real problems for small businesses and individuals. We understood their struggles, listened to their feedback, and used it to create better solutions. This level of empathy and commitment turned our customers into lifelong supporters. I often say that if you take care of your customers, they will take care of your business. It's a simple but powerful idea. In fact, one of our guiding principles was, put customers first, employees second, and shareholders third. Some investors didn't like this philosophy, but it's one of the reasons we succeeded. When you focus on what truly matters, everything else falls into place. Think about it. What can you do today to make your customers remember you? Because in the end, it's not just about selling, it's about leaving a lasting impression. There is a lesson every entrepreneur must learn. Holding on to a failing idea can cost you more than letting it go. Early in my career, I struggled with this. When you invest time, energy, and resources into something, it's painful to admit it isn't working. But I realized that recognizing failure and pivoting quickly is not a sign of weakness. It's a mark of strength and wisdom. I often use the metaphor, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. It's about adapting, not forcing. If an approach isn't yielding results, the solution isn't to push harder in the same direction, but to change strategies. This shift in mindset allowed me to make decisions that saved time, energy, and opportunities. At Alibaba, we launched several initiatives that didn't work as planned. Instead of pouring more resources into failing projects, We analyzed the data, learned from our mistakes, and redirected our focus. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Holding on to a bad strategy for too long can drain your potential and limit your ability to seize new opportunities. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means being smart enough to know when something isn't worth pursuing. It's a habit that applies not just in business, but in life. Whether it's a toxic relationship, an unproductive routine, or a stagnant career path, sometimes the best decision is to walk away. So the question becomes, are you brave enough to let go of what's holding you back? Because cutting losses isn't about quitting, it's about making space for what truly matters. One of the most important lessons I learned as an entrepreneur is that success is guided by numbers, not guesses. Data gives you clarity, and clarity leads to better decisions. At Alibaba, from the very beginning, we became obsessed with tracking the right metrics. It wasn't about collecting every piece of information, but understanding which numbers truly mattered and focusing on them relentlessly. Without data, you're essentially flying blind. I remember when we launched our e-commerce platform, we had to measure everything: how long customers stayed on the website, what products they clicked on, and where they dropped off. This data was like a map showing us where we were succeeding and where we needed to improve. Data isn't just for big companies. It's a tool everyone can use. Whether you're running a business, managing your finances, or trying to improve your habits, tracking the right metrics is essential. But the key is to focus on actionable insights. What is the one number that, if improved, would transform your results? For Alibaba, it was customer retention. I've seen businesses fail because they ignored the numbers, relying solely on intuition or outdated methods. But data doesn't lie. It tells you where you stand and what you need to do. Managing with data doesn't mean removing the human element. It means enhancing it with knowledge. So ask yourself, are you paying attention to the numbers that matter? Because success isn't just about hard work. It's about working smart, and data is the smartest tool you have. Problems are inevitable, but they are also your greatest source of opportunity. I learned this early on when starting Alibaba. We didn't have money, technology, or resources. But instead of focusing on what we lacked, we focused on what we could solve. This mindset, seeing every challenge as an opportunity in disguise, became one of our core philosophies. When you're faced with a problem, it's easy to fall into the trap of blame or frustration. But blame doesn't solve anything. I often told my team, stop complaining, start solving. Every obstacle is a chance to innovate. The reason Alibaba thrived was that we turned complex challenges, like enabling small businesses to sell globally, into solutions that created value. The key to solving problems is to stay positive and creative. A negative mindset blinds you to possibilities. When we couldn't secure investments in Alibaba's early days, instead of giving up, we focused on building something investors couldn't ignore. This resilience and creativity transformed rejection into a stepping stone. The world's greatest innovations were born from problems. Think about it. The airplane was created to solve the problem of long-distance travel, and the internet was born to connect people. Problems aren't roadblocks. They are the raw material for progress. If you approach them with the right mindset, you'll find opportunities where others see only obstacles. So, the next time you face a challenge, ask yourself, what opportunity is hidden here? Because the difference between failure and success is your ability to turn problems into possibilities. Critical thinking has always been one of the most valuable skills I've relied on as an entrepreneur. In a world full of noise and distractions, the ability to pause, analyze, and make thoughtful decisions sets you apart. At Alibaba, there were countless moments where quick judgments could have derailed us. Instead, we practiced the habit of deep reflection, ensuring that every major choice was well-informed. The best decisions are rarely the easiest ones. They require you to question assumptions, evaluate risks, and consider long-term outcomes. I remember debating whether we should expand Alibaba internationally. The risks were enormous, but taking the time to weigh the pros and cons allowed us to make a decision that shaped our future success. One practice I recommend is disconnecting from distractions when making critical decisions. It's like tuning out static noise to hear the music clearly. I've always believed that a calm and focused mind leads to better outcomes. When faced with a difficult choice, take a step back, assess the facts, and let clarity guide your actions. Thinking critically isn't just about business, it's a life skill. Whether you're deciding on a career change, an investment, or even a personal goal, applying logic and analysis will lead you to better results. In a fast-moving world, the ability to think deeply is a superpower. So are you willing to invest the time to think critically? Because the decisions you make today have the power to shape your tomorrow in ways you can't yet imagine. I often tell people that you're just one skill away from doubling your income or transforming your life. This belief comes from my own journey. Before starting Alibaba, I was a teacher of English. I didn't know much about business, technology, or even the internet, but I was curious and willing to learn. That one skill, learning to communicate with the world, opened doors I never imagined. Think about it. In today's fast-changing world, the ability to learn and adapt is more important than ever. Whether it's mastering public speaking, coding, or leadership, acquiring the right skill can be a game changer. It's not about knowing everything, it's about knowing the right things. Identify what will have the biggest impact on your career or life, and focus on that relentlessly. When I started Alibaba, I realized we had to think globally, even though we were a small company in China. That mindset pushed me to improve my understanding of international markets and digital commerce. It wasn't easy, but every skill I learned became a building block for our success. I always believed that if you stop learning, you stop growing. What's incredible about learning a new skill is that it builds confidence. As you grow, you start seeing opportunities where others see barriers. Skills are like tools in a toolbox. The more you have, the more problems you can solve. And here's the truth. You're never too old or too busy to learn something new. So, what's the one skill that could change your life today? Because sometimes the smallest step toward growth can create the biggest transformation. Rejection has been a constant companion in my life. I've lost count of how many times I was told no. Whether it was universities rejecting my applications, companies refusing to hire me, or investors laughing at my ideas, rejection was always there. But I realized something powerful. Rejection isn't the end, it's a lesson. It's a staircase you climb to build resilience. When KFC came to my city, I was the only one rejected out of 24 applicants. At the time, it was embarrassing. But looking back, I'm grateful for those moments. They taught me to rely on my inner strength. When Alibaba struggled to find investors, I didn't let the rejection stop us. Instead, we focused on creating undeniable value, proving to the world that they were wrong to doubt us. Rejection forces you to adapt, innovate, and push harder. It's like forging steel. Every blow makes it stronger. I've always said that resilience is the superpower of modern entrepreneurs. You can't control the world's reactions, but you can control your response. Each no is an opportunity to refine your ideas, improve your strategy, and grow tougher. I want you to see rejection not as a roadblock, but as a redirection. It's life's way of testing your determination. If you give up after the first or second rejection, you'll never discover your true potential. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I come back stronger? Because in the end, rejection doesn't define you. Your resilience does. So the next time you hear no, remember that it's just a stepping stone toward your next big yes. When I started Alibaba, our vision was grand, but we knew we had to start small. We were a group of 18 people working in a tiny apartment, armed with big dreams but limited resources. The key to our success wasn't giant leaps, but consistent small steps. Every day, we made progress, no matter how small. And those small steps compounded into something extraordinary. I believe in the power of starting where you are with what you have. People often wait for the perfect moment, but perfection is an illusion. The real magic happens when you take action, even if it's imperfect. Small, consistent efforts build momentum, and momentum is what turns ideas into reality. I often compare this to planting a tree. You don't see it grow overnight, but with daily care, it becomes strong and unshakable. At Alibaba, we didn't achieve success because of one big move. It was a series of small actions, learning, adapting, and improving every day that made the difference. Small steps also make big goals feel less overwhelming. When you break a massive challenge into manageable pieces, you can tackle it with confidence. The key is to move fast within those small steps. Speed matters because it creates opportunities. If you wait too long, those opportunities disappear. So what small step can you take today? Because when you commit to daily progress, even the tallest mountains become climbable. When people told me that building Alibaba was impossible, I didn't listen. I've always believed that impossible is just a word used by those who don't dare to try. Every breakthrough, every innovation starts with someone willing to challenge the status quo. If you don't push boundaries, you'll never discover what lies beyond them. At Alibaba, we faced countless moments where others doubted us. From launching an e-commerce platform in a country with barely any internet infrastructure to creating Singles Day, which is now the largest shopping festival in the world, we did things people thought were crazy. It wasn't about proving others wrong, it was about believing in our vision and working tirelessly to make it happen. The courage to challenge the impossible comes from within. It's about trusting your instincts and having the resilience to face failure along the way. You'll encounter critics and skeptics, but remember, they are simply spectators. You're the one in the arena, taking the risks and making things happen. I often say that great opportunities come disguised as challenges. The bigger the challenge, the greater the reward. But to seize those opportunities, you must first believe that you can. Visionaries like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk didn't succeed because their ideas were easy. They succeeded because they dared to think differently. So what impossible idea are you holding back on? Because the future belongs to those brave enough to dream and bold enough to act. No one builds success alone. When I started Alibaba, we were just a small group of 18 people in an apartment. But what made us strong was our shared vision. It wasn't about having the best resources. It was about having the right people. A team aligned in purpose can achieve what seems impossible. Together, we believed we could create something that would change lives. I often say that hiring the right people is not just about skills, it's about values and mindset. You need people who believe in your mission as much as you do. At Alibaba, we didn't look for the smartest people. We looked for the most passionate and committed. Because skills can be taught, but passion and alignment cannot. An aligned team is like a well-coordinated orchestra. Each member has a role, and when everyone works in harmony, the result is extraordinary. At Alibaba, we faced challenges that could have torn us apart, but our shared belief in our mission kept us moving forward. We supported each other through failures, celebrated victories together, and learned from every experience. To build an aligned team, you must create an environment of trust and respect. At Alibaba, we encouraged open communication and celebrated diverse perspectives. This culture of collaboration allowed us to innovate and stay resilient in the face of challenges. It's not about avoiding conflict, it's about resolving it constructively. So who is standing with you on your journey? Because the strength of your team will determine the height of your success. And when you find the right people, there's no limit to what you can achieve together. The world is changing faster than ever, and those who stop learning risk falling behind. Before starting Alibaba, I was an English teacher, and one thing I understood was the importance of education. But as the digital age took over, I realized that traditional education wasn't enough. To thrive in this world, you need to embrace continuous learning. Learning isn't just about acquiring knowledge, it's about staying curious. I've always believed that curiosity drives innovation. When Alibaba started, we knew almost nothing about e-commerce, logistics, or technology. But we were willing to learn, experiment, and adapt. That mindset turned our ignorance into one of our greatest strengths. What's exciting about continuous learning is that it keeps you open to opportunities. Every book you read, every skill you develop, and every new idea you explore adds to your arsenal. At Alibaba, we encouraged our employees to learn constantly, whether it was through training, mentorship, or hands-on experience. The more we learned, the more we could innovate. In this fast-paced world, the ability to learn quickly is more valuable than any single skill. The future belongs to those who can adapt, think critically, and solve problems creatively. I often told my team, what got us here won't get us there. You must always be ready to evolve. So how are you investing in your own growth? Because the best investment you can make is in yourself, and the dividends will last a lifetime. When I look back at the early days of Alibaba, what kept us going was a big dream. We didn't have money, resources, or even experience. But we believed we could use the internet to help small businesses thrive globally. That belief was so strong it became contagious. If you want to achieve great things, you have to start by dreaming big. Dreaming big isn't about ignoring reality, it's about challenging it. People often settle for less because they're afraid of failure. But I've always said, when you're poor, if you have a dream, you never feel poor. A big dream gives you purpose, energy, and the courage to keep moving forward, even when the odds are against you. At Alibaba, we weren't afraid to set bold goals. Whether it was creating the largest e-commerce platform or building Singles Day into the world's biggest shopping event, we aimed high. Even when people doubted us, our dreams kept us focused and motivated. Big dreams attract big opportunities, and that's the secret to achieving what others think is impossible. To turn dreams into reality, you need more than vision, you need action. Start small, but don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Every step you take brings you closer to your goal. And remember, dreams evolve as you grow. What starts as a small idea can transform into something extraordinary if you nurture it. So, what's the dream that's keeping you awake at night? Because dreaming big isn't just about imagining the future, it's about building it. Failure is often seen as something to avoid, but I've learned to embrace it as a teacher. When we started Alibaba, we failed over and over. Our first ideas didn't work. Investors turned us down, and the technology we needed seemed out of reach. But each failure taught us something new. Strategic failure, failing quickly and learning from it, became a cornerstone of our success. Imagine failure as a simulator. Every mistake is a test run that helps you prepare for the real challenge. At Alibaba, we didn't fear making mistakes. We feared not learning from them. It's why we encouraged experimentation within our team. I always told them, don't be afraid to try and fail, but don't fail without learning. This mindset saved us time and pushed us to grow faster. What's powerful about embracing failure is how it speeds up your learning curve. Each setback reveals blind spots and forces you to innovate. For example, when our payment system faced massive challenges, instead of abandoning it, we used the lessons to create Alipay, one of our most significant innovations. Failure became the foundation for our breakthroughs. It's important to fail strategically, though. Reckless failure doesn't teach you much. Be deliberate in your efforts, test your ideas, and analyze your results. Think of failure as part of a cycle. Test, learn, adapt, repeat. This approach isn't just for business, it's for life. It's how you grow as a person and as a leader. So, what's stopping you from taking risks and learning from your mistakes? Because failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a step on the path to it. Failure is often seen as something to avoid, but I've learned to embrace it as a teacher. When we started Alibaba, we failed over and over. Our first ideas didn't work. Investors turned us down, and the technology we needed seemed out of reach. But each failure taught us something new. Strategic failure, failing quickly and learning from it, became a cornerstone of our success. Imagine failure as a simulator. Every mistake is a test run that helps you prepare for the real challenge. At Alibaba, we didn't fear making mistakes. We feared not learning from them. It's why we encouraged experimentation within our team. I always told them, don't be afraid to try and fail, but don't fail without learning. This mindset saved us time and pushed us to grow faster. What's powerful about embracing failure is how it speeds up your learning curve. Each setback reveals blind spots and forces you to innovate. For example, when our payment system faced massive challenges, instead of abandoning it, we used the lessons to create Alipay, one of our most significant innovations. Failure became the foundation for our breakthroughs. It's important to fail strategically, though. Reckless failure doesn't teach you much. Be deliberate in your efforts, test your ideas, and analyze your results. Think of failure as part of a cycle. Test, learn, adapt, repeat. This approach isn't just for business, it's for life. It's how you grow as a person and as a leader. So, what's stopping you from taking risks and learning from your mistakes? Because failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a step on the path to it. If I had to pick one word to define the journey of an entrepreneur, it would be resilience. The ability to keep going when everything seems against you is what separates success from failure. At Alibaba, we faced rejection after rejection, financial struggles, and doubts from the world. But we refused to quit. Resilience wasn't just a trait, it was our strategy. I often say that resilience is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Every challenge you overcome adds to your strength. When I was rejected by Harvard 10 times or turned down for 30 jobs, it would have been easy to give up. But each rejection fueled my determination to try harder. It's not about how many times you fall, it's about how many times you get back up. The entrepreneurial journey is full of ups and downs. There will be moments when everything feels hopeless, but that's where resilience comes in. It's what gives you the courage to stand tall and face your challenges head on. At Alibaba, we knew that no matter how tough things got, quitting was never an option. We pushed through the hardest days because we believed in our vision. Resilience isn't just about enduring hardship. It's about thriving in the face of it. When you embrace challenges as opportunities to grow, you develop a mindset that can overcome anything. This is the true superpower of modern entrepreneurs. It's what keeps you moving forward when the world says stop. So how will you build your resilience? Because when you master the art of perseverance, you unlock a strength that no obstacle can defeat.
The world has been inspired by the profound wisdom of Jack Ma, a name synonymous with resilience, vision, and innovation. In a captivating presentation, Jack Ma shared the mindset essential for transforming problems into opportunities. Drawing from his journey, from repeated rejections to becoming the co-founder of Alibaba, one of the most influential companies globally, he illustrated how failure, focus, and continuous learning can lead to life-altering success. Jack Ma began by recounting his early failures, emphasizing that setbacks are not roadblocks, but stepping stones to progress. With a unique ability to connect personally, he spoke of the power of resilience, a trait that shaped his journey as an entrepreneur. He revealed how embracing rejection and seeing it as a teacher helped him and his team create groundbreaking solutions. This message resonated with audiences worldwide, highlighting the value of grit and self-belief. The session delved into actionable strategies for success, such as narrowing your focus to excel in fewer, but more meaningful areas. Ma's lessons on slowing down to make impactful decisions served as a reminder of the strength in thoughtful action. In an age of overwhelming distractions, his advice on quality and prioritization emerged as a beacon for those seeking clarity and purpose in their ambitions. Jack Ma's insights on innovation shone through as he discussed turning challenges into opportunities. He explained that problems often carry the seeds of transformative solutions, urging everyone to adopt a mindset of creativity and persistence. This approach, as evidenced by Alibaba's rise, redefined how businesses view obstacles. A core theme was the importance of continuous learning. Jack Ma's own journey exemplifies how curiosity and adaptability can unlock doors to unimagined possibilities. He championed the idea that mastering even one life-changing skill can set the stage for personal and professional growth, inspiring individuals to embrace lifelong learning. The presentation also celebrated teamwork, with Ma emphasizing the significance of aligning values and purpose within teams. He shared stories from Alibaba's formative years, where shared vision and trust transformed a small group of believers into a global powerhouse. Ending with a powerful reminder to dream big, Jack Ma inspired everyone to push beyond perceived limits. His message was clear: impossibilities exist only for those unwilling to try. With an unyielding belief in the power of vision, action, and perseverance, Jack Ma left his audience motivated to turn their own dreams into reality. Now that you've gained insight into Jack Ma's transformative mindset, the question is, how will you apply it? Are you ready to embrace failure as your greatest teacher, prioritize focus over distractions, and see challenges as opportunities to innovate? The journey to success isn't a straight line, but every step you take can bring you closer to your goals if you stay resilient and keep learning. What stood out to you the most? Was it the importance of building an aligned team, mastering a life-changing skill, or dreaming big despite the odds? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let us know how you plan to implement these powerful strategies in your own life. And don't forget, success is not just about inspiration, but action. Revisit this video whenever you need a push to keep moving forward. And if you found value in today's content, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you won't lose this valuable resource. Enable notifications, and you'll never miss another opportunity to grow and transform. Ready for more? Watch the next video to continue learning strategies that can change the course of your life. Let's build a future of growth, one step at a time.